You're watching the Batter Fans Network.
Welcome, everybody, to episode number 49 of the Battered MLS Fans Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Ganana, and alongside me, I got two other Battered fans. I got Mr. KBD and Danny Brams from the Total Soccer Show. Let's start with Danny Brams. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back. Always a pleasure to be talking some footy with you two lads. And the pretender contender. You know, like we'll find out if I'm a pretender, if I'm a contender for knowing what the hell's going on. I've been so focused on Charlotte FC, but I went to the Austin versus LA Galaxy game this past weekend. So I was traveling. So my MLS horizons are always expanding, and so sometimes I'll go see a game if I'm in a different town, even though I'm a diehard Charlotte fan. So there you go. I just love this league.
Hey, that makes two of us or three of us. KBD, how you doing?
Listen, Tommy ATL is asking B, where's my money at? Because you owe him. You owe him, Papa.
I do owe him money, and I told him I was going to send him a check, and I think he's a little upset that I'm asking for his address. I'm not going to Venmo or Zelle him. I'm going to send you a check. Give me the address, and you will get the check, and it won't bounce. That's it.
Why don't you send him a roll of pennies? I mean, geez. Like,
don't put that past me. It's just that it's going to cost so much to send out. It'll be heavy.
Super petty.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking contenders or pretenders. We're going to go through the teams. Oh, and I got the Whitecaps randomly up there. We're going to go through the teams, and we're just going to give our opinion, whether they're a contender or a pretender. We are a quarter of the way through the season, 9 games in for most teams, 8 for 2 other ones for Miami and New England. And that's basically a quarter of the way through because we only have 34 regular season games. So I think it's about time where people start doing irresponsible decisions or predictions. So let's get started. And I figure we start with the East Coast. So let's start with the East Coast. And let's get started right there with Atlanta. Atlanta United spent all the money in the offseason. Everybody was hyped up because they beat into Miami in the playoffs last year. They got a couple names, Almiron, Latilath, among some other ones. So I'll start with Tommy is apparently saying pretender. Mr. Danny Brams, how are you feeling? Are they a contender or a pretender?
They're as pretender as it gets, man. Are you kidding me? Like they're a pretender to greatness, just like Alexei Miranchuk is a pretender to giving effort on the pitch out there. Absolute joke of a squad, wasted all that money, and I don't see Atlanta coming back from this. I think they're going to be consigned to the dustbin of the league for the next few years because they've really allocated a lot of resources in the wrong way. So pretender for me all the way. Why are we even talking about them? They're like 12th on the Eastern Conference table. Are we going through every single team here or what? Like, I don't know how they even made the for consideration list.
Chris, well, because there was such high hype behind them.
Yes,
they did spend the money.
Yeah. So I feel like you got it because. Okay, I'll let you go.
They got Chris Henderson. They spent the money on that. Nice cup there, by the way, Danny.
Mug, baby.
They got 2 wins, 3 draws, and 4 losses. They are definitely a pretender. Like the expectation was.
How many points are they off of the playoffs?
At this very moment, they are. Well, I mean, from the 9th seed,
they're 3. They got 9 points.
Only 3 points.
I think they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, this is not that drastic of a drop.
I think they're going to make the playoffs.
So the consensus
it's not saying
here,
much, right? Because it's the top 9 team. But are you saying, because when we're talking contender, pretender, are we talking like legit, like they might be one of the teams in the, let's say, semifinal, quarterfinal type, right? Like they might, you could envision them making a run for the championship.
Their best player is Brad Guzan. Like, why are we even talking about this club?
Chris, pretender or pretender?
They are pretenders. Yeah, just you gave me the same option over and over. Pretender or pretenders? They're pretenders.
Right. I'm gonna co-sign just based off of them actually going ahead and winning anything or being taken seriously as a winner. But I do think they're gonna turn it around a bit, and it's probably gonna be in the summertime because they got a tough schedule coming up. I don't think they are title contenders per se, but I do think that they will make the playoffs. Now, next, Charlotte FC. Now, Charlotte FC, best defensive team last year. Zaha came on, supposed to be that guy. He hasn't proved to be that guy. I think he's a scrub.
You haven't
But
even watched the
Pep
game.
Biel, yes, I have, and he just isn't that guy. But Pep Biel,
They've
to me,
improved offensively.
yes. If Pep Biel wasn't on this team does not look as good as it does right now. Right or wrong?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
Zaha
matter.
was brought in.
Pointless
Zaha
question.
was brought in. What are you going to say?
Pointless question. He is on the team, and you can say that about any team's best player. Pep Biel has certainly produced.
What I'm saying is that Zaha isn't carrying this team.
And that's good. That makes us even more of a contender. Zaha has been incredible. Have you like the things that Zaha is doing out there, and he hasn't even really done the statistical production that will eventually come along with it, are insane. Definitely should have had a goal against San Diego. Should have had a better finish. He did shoot an amazing save by Dos Santos, the San Diego keeper, although it was a little bit straight at him. But Zaha is setting up these like give and goes and 1-2s, and the chemistry that he is finding with Pep, he sprung Abada for a 1v1 with the keeper that was saved off the line by a center back that hustled back. So Zaha should have had a goal and an assist. He's also, though, melding as a teammate in terms of when Ajimon got fouled to draw the penalty, even though Zaha could have gone and said, hey, I need a goal. Give me that ball. I'm going to take the penalty. He let Patrick step up and take it because Patrick had won the penalty. So he's not like showboating. He doesn't have like superstar, look at me, main character syndrome. He's melding in well with the team. He's fit the culture. He's dancing all over the pitch. I mean, he's twinkle toes. He's got he's definitely going to be in the top of the statistics of like other statistics that people don't. He doesn't have all the goals and assists, but in terms of dribbles, take-ons, beating his man one-on-one, drawing fouls, and he's a little bit frustrated because he's getting fouled hard. He's one of the top most fouled players in the league per game, and as Dean Smith predicted, he would be. Like, I don't need to defend Zaha because he'll defend himself. It's just funny that like that's the criticism that people like. The criticism that people want to throw at Charlotte is that Zaha's not there yet statistically. Like look at what Pep Biel is doing. Look at what Brant Bronico is doing. Just an MLS journeyman, they called him for years. And all this guy does is get better every single year. And he's to the point where I think he's an elite MLS midfielder now. Legitimately, no irony about that. I think he's probably one of the top 30 midfielders in the league easily. I think that the back line continues to be strong. If there have been some injuries, it's been thin. The back line injuries could be telling over the next few matches, and it all does also rely on Christian Kalina, who's made some incredible saves. Christian Kalina has saved points with some snapshot saves that he's had in a few recent matches. But what I will say is, if you want to make the pretender case, and I'll tee this up to you, Chris, because I've talked to him about this glorious club enough, it's all for the crown, baby. We do it for the badge. I'll kiss the badge on the stream. I'll drink my Sir Minty mug, our beloved mascot. But if you're trying to make the pretender case, you could look at the schedule. The schedule looked kind of tough on paper. I mean, we had to go at Miami. We faced Nashville, who was supposed to be good. They're not that good. Spoiler alert for what I'm going to label them later. Yeah. But the schedule gets a little tougher. We've had a heavily home-weighted schedule, about to have a lot more road matches. We got to go we play host New England this week. Then we go at Columbus, at Nashville, at Orlando, all within the next 5 weeks. So the schedule does get tougher from here, even though it has not exactly been easy.
Well, and look, Upcode is saying here, Charlotte definitely a top 4 team in the East. Top 5 in the whole league. Listen, it's like what Danny said. If Zaha's not, I guess, producing, quote unquote, to the expectation, imagine when he does. Danny, this team is a contender. Like, there's no other way to look at this. Okay. And Danny, I know that you're going to bring up this whole Zaha stuff, but dude, the moment that he hits it, like on and popping, I'm telling you.
Now, the reason he let Ajimong take that PK is because Ajimong's also having a disappointing season. Yes or no?
Oh, my goodness. Wow. I mean,
they both could have used a goal. They were both sitting on one goal before that PK.
Right.
Now Ajimong has two.
So, now, with that being said, before the season and even last week when I was on here and I was on with Will from MLS Moves, I said Charlotte is the only team that has a chance to compete with Inter Miami in the top of the East, I believe. And I also said I think Pep Biel is the MVP. But when I was making my argument, because Will was arguing for Diego Rossi, I was saying Pep Biel is almost doing or contributing what I thought Zaha would bring. I thought Zaha would contribute more to the opening of the offense or the attack, and I felt like he hasn't done it as much. Now, am I expecting him to be an MVP candidate, Zaha? No, that's not what I ever expected him to do. I'm surprised by what Pep Biel did. I thought it would be more team attack, more. I just thought that they would look better,
more collectively.
That's just what I thought. But with that all being said, I still think that Charlotte is the best team outside of Miami in the East, and I think that they will end up in either first or second, depending on how Miami plays their cards with rotations and things like that.
Undeniable, baby.
Contender, absolutely contender. All right, moving on. That's Charlotte, and we got Chicago. Now, people were dying for Greg Berhalter to fail. But he's looked decent so far. Chris, where are they at in the standings?
Oh, well, they're 3-3-3, as mid can ever get. They're 8th in the Eastern standings, but I think I'm gonna consider them a contender, Danny. They're a lot better than we expected in the beginning of the season. I mean, their front forwards have made a huge contribution, and I mean, defensively, I believe that they're going to find it. But Chicago's been on a better run than I anticipated,
and they have Joe Dirt in goal.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Boy Joe Dirt, aka Chris Brady, is my favorite goalie in the league. So Joe Dirt is that guy.
Wow, you're cheating on Drake Callender? That's brutal.
He doesn't even start for us anymore,
which makes it even weirder. Trust me, Adam.
But yeah, and with Bamba on the left, you got Zinker on the right. You got Kuipers, which might win the Golden Boot down the middle. Gutierrez, like that team is just really loaded. And the top six, I think that they're also going to be a contender. I think it'll be one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Danny Brams, Chicago.
Easy pretender status. They're even pretending that they're going to get KDB at some point this summer, but they have 2 points in their last 4 matches. They overachieved a little bit to start the year, but they still find themselves down. I think they're in 8th in the East right now in the play-in game if the playoffs start today, which they are many months away from starting. But easy pretender status for Chicago. I would expect them to probably not even sniff the playoffs.
No, I believe in their attack. I really do think that they're going to be good. So, all right. Well, I love it. I love it because I think the
Berhalter haters hibernate and come out later this summer.
You will have your moment in the sun,
yes,
for sure. All right. So, me and Chris think contenders. Just look, Bram knows ball. Bram has balls. Well, that too.
Biggest set you ever seen, bub.
I believe in him. All right, moving on. Cincinnati. They got Evander in the offseason, and we thought that they would fail once Lucha left, but Evander has looked good. He's another one that's up there when people are talking about the first quarter MVP candidates. Evander has played very well. And where are they in the standings, Chris?
Well, they're second in the East. They have 6 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses with 19 total points. They're actually tied with points with Charlotte, so they're actually tied for first place.
Miles Robinson is healthy. Like they're looking like a serious contender, and that's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say that I think Cincinnati is also a contender. Now I know that Charlotte and Danny specifically isn't a fan of Cincinnati because I just came to realize this last year when I had you and Justin Blair on the show that apparently there's 2 Queen cities. Yes. I thought it was only Charlotte. So Danny, how you feeling about the other Queen City?
I mean, again, this is yet another team that's pretending to be something, not an entire city pretending to be something it's not. They're not really the Queen City. They're not really in first. They're pretending to be tied for first in the East, even though they're really second because they trail us on goal differential, and we beat them head-to-head here in the actual Queen City of Charlotte about a month or so ago. So now there's a lot of pretending going on in Cincinnati is what I'm trying to lay out for you here. But what is not phony, what is not fake, and what it could not be a fraud at all is Evander. And any team that has Evander, I think, is going to be contending in the East. Again, you could ask the question, contending for what? Are they contending to win the East? Are they contending to make the playoffs? I could have labeled Chicago in the last segment an easy pretender because I think they're horrible. But since he's definitely going to be contending for something, whether it's a home playoff series or something along those natures, I don't think they'll be, when it's all said and done, in the top 3 with Charlotte, Miami, and Columbus. But I do think they are a contender to have a good season and go on a run and get hot because Evander can do it all. Evander can take over matches.
May 17th, Danny. May 17th, Charlotte hosts Chicago. Just wanted to
get the whole chat. The chat, you're all invited. Beers on me at the fucking Hot Fly Brewing right down the street.
Just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Because now I'm looking forward to that game.
Yeah, come on down.
Chris, Chicago.
Well, Cincinnati. So Cincinnati beat Toronto, they beat Atlanta, they beat Nashville, and they beat New England.
Nashville is.
Ooh, I might have to change my call. That's
so, and they also beat DC United 1-0, which
so they beat the worst teams in the East.
DC United is a one-trick pony. Okay, they struggled a little bit against Chicago. They beat them 3-2. But as far as like that is concerned, look, Evander or not, Cincinnati, they are pretenders to me, Danny. Okay, their record doesn't show exactly how great they are, quote unquote. They've been beating. Obviously, you beat who you're put against in the schedule, but they're beating a bunch of Twinkies.
Didn't someone like fall down in Chicago or some? There was some
the ref
thing that led to their winning goal. Yeah,
yes. The ref tripped one of their the Chicago defenders.
All right, change mine. Chris convinced me. I'm going with Chris. It back. I'm embarrassed that I said contender. Change me back to pretender on these clients.
We're going back on the Queen City. There's only one Queen City in the MLS.
That's the whenever you like make a case, it's evidence. And then try to flip it to the other thing and the other way. You should have just gone with your original evidence. And thank you, Chris, for reminding me of that. I appreciate it.
Of course. I got you.
Chicago 6, Charlotte 1 is the prediction for May 17th by Upcode Series.
All right. Yeah. 6 yellow cards to our war, maybe. That's it. I don't know.
All right. So Cincinnati, I think they're a contender. Both of you think pretenders. All right. And moving on. Columbus Crew. I'll let you guys start with this one, and then I'll tell you what I think about the Columbus Crew. Chris.
Well, as far as their standing is concerned, they're sitting 4th. They have 5 wins, 3 draws, and a loss. Okay, they have 18 points in the standings. They're actually tied with Inter Miami. We're ahead of them because we have a game in hand.
We have a game in hand.
Yes. Now, Columbus Crew. Surprisingly, I'm going to say that they're contenders. Wilfred Nancy has kind of proven that he can still cook with anybody that's on his team. And Diego Rossi is showing out more than I anticipated. I kind of was hating on him in the beginning of the season. And they have so many fast players like Farsi. I mean, their team is still collectively pretty good. They're missing Cucho, but they're not missing him as much as I had expected. Contender for me.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Danny Branch.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fear Miami whatsoever as a Charlotte fan. I mean, I know Miami is cruising on busted tires that are all about to go pop sooner than later this summer. But Columbus is what scares me. Columbus, they have the second best coach in the league, Wilfred Nancy. He's right up there with Dean Smith, who's actually the best coach. But Wilfred is a good coach, and you look at them. They lose
Van Gaal ball.
They lose Lucas Zelarayan a couple years ago. They keep right on Chugulin. They lose what's his name? They lost Aiden Morris mid-season last year, part of their midfield. Keep on Chugulin. They lose Cucho. He's gone. Diego Rossi steps up. Keep on Chugulin. I don't know if there's any CCR fans out there, but this team's just going to keep on Chugulin all on down the road because Wilfred Nancy gets a ton out of whoever he's got, just like Dean Smith does. As I said, I believe we are 2 weeks out from Charlotte at Columbus, and I think we're 4 weeks out, maybe 5, from Columbus at Charlotte. So these two teams, Charlotte and Columbus, play each other twice within the next month. So nice. This is a huge stretch of the campaign for both of those clubs. it's going to be defining as far as who takes the driver's seat in the East, the pole position, if you will, how Columbus and Charlotte end up those results. And these guys are a clear contenders. Now, you can't call them a pretender in any way, shape, or form.
How many wins? How many wins does Columbus have this year, Chris?
Columbus right now has 5 wins.
5 wins. Okay, so I'm gonna do what Chris just did to Cincinnati. Columbus beat so far Chicago, with which those 2 goal differences was an own goal and a horrible giveaway in the back. That's how they started the season. Then they beat New England 1-0. They drew with Houston Dynamo 0-0. They drew with San Diego 1-1. They drew with NYCFC 0-0. They beat DC United 2-1. They beat Montreal, which is awesome, 2-1. They beat St. Louis, which is awesome, 2-1. And then they lost
on a disallowed St. Louis equalizer, right? Late.
Right, because he wasn't offside. So that is your Columbus crew. Now, do I think they're a playoff team? Yes. Do I take them seriously as a title contender? Not until they bring somebody else. Now, I know we keep saying they got a DP spot, they got money, they're going to bring somebody in. But until they bring that player in, they are, to me, a massive pretender.
I'm loving. There's always at least one of us is willing to make a bold call on all these teams, right? So I think Charlotte's the only team that has swept contender status so far. So
well, I mean,
I wonder what I'll say about Miami.
All right. Now we're gonna run through some of these because they don't need to be talked about. DC United. Does anybody think any chance of contender?
No.
Contender for relegation.
Right, moving through that one. Montreal, absolutely not.
Another contender for relegation.
Right. They're the 52nd state.
All right, here we go. Sure. Inter Miami. I'm not even gonna waste too much time. Me myself, I think they're a contender. Not too much to be said. Danny.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, something about this Miami team just doesn't sit right. They went pure turtle mode and against us with the 10 men against Charlotte and lucked into nonsense goal. But I don't know, man. They're clearly a contender, but at some point, man, Messi is he's all eyes on the World Cup 2026, and anything that gets in the way of him playing for Argentina next summer in the World Cup is going to take a back seat. So if he perceives that it's worth it to give less effort to Inter Miami, I think that's what he's going to do. Personally, I don't know the man. I don't know anything about him, but
that's wishful thinking, Danny Brams.
Figure it all out, but and they're a good squad. You guys just unloaded some dudes, right? Robert Taylor out the door today. Julian Gressel out the door today. I mean, Gressel wasn't really contributing. I know you guys both have some strange semi-half hard on for Taylor from talking to you last year, but I don't know. Like I worry about the team. Are they going to bring in KDB? Is this where KDB ends up? I don't know. They're clearly a contender, and everyone that's in the chat just listened to you guys rant on about this freaking club for an hour right before we started this show. So I guess
let me tell you something. The De Bruyne thing does have legs. They've been talking to him since December, so
I think it's going to be better for Chicago. I think honestly, looking at it, I think it's better suited that he goes to Chicago.
Do you think he's going to go play for Triple G?
I think it's better suited for Chicago. I think that the Chicago fan base would get behind the Kevin De Bruyne. I think anybody would, but I think it would be a good fit for him in Chicago.
Wow. You heard Miami fan base rejects KDB. Who would have thought?
I think that the Miami
fan truly spoiled from a couple of years ago.
No, it is.
Club there are a lot of people saying that they don't want him, which is wild to me. Yeah, Chris,
I'm not saying I don't want him. The contenders. I mean, come on. There's no way we can go
clean sweep. They're contenders. Yeah.
All right. Yes. So let's move on. Next on here we got Nashville. Nashville is consistently inconsistent. They're playing better than I thought they would. Surge is probably the best player. Honey Mustard has taken a back seat, I think. And that kid, Qasim, I don't know where he's from, but he's been playing very well also. But I don't believe in them. They're better than I thought they'd be at this point, but they're just not consistent. I don't think they have any chance of winning a title. I'm going to say they're pretenders. Danny Brams.
Tough club, club with some grit to it. I'm not going to shit all over them, but I will say probably pretender. They had us right where they wanted us here in Charlotte, up 1-0 with 5 minutes left. Charlotte scored 2 goals to turn that result around and really turn our whole season around. So thank you, Nashville, for completely choking in your road match here in Charlotte, because it definitely gave the Crown season a huge boost. I think Nashville's got 2 really talented players and 1 up-and-comer, like you just mentioned, Daniel. But I'm going to go ahead and label these guys pretender because I just don't think it's all coming together. I don't really have – I mean, they got BJ Callahan, who's a respected coach, and he,
I think next season
national experience. But also Hani Mukhtar is like – he's in the decline. I just really feel he's not good. He's getting be worse 4 months from now than he was 4 months ago. And you can maybe this will come back to haunt me. But I just think by the end of the season, he's not going to be really a guy you think of the same way that you used to with him. This is my
agree.
Could be wrong.
So pretender for now.
Pretender.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm going to go. So in March 8th, they played against Portland, beat them. They played against Philly, they beat them. They played against Montreal, they beat them 3-0 handedly. They lost against Cincinnati. They lost against Charlotte. They beat Real Salt Lake, and then they lost 3-0 to Seattle. But you know what? They've actually looked pretty decent lately. I'm going to go with contender.
You think that this team has a chance to contend for a title?
I think that they have a chance to contend for like the top 6 space. Right now, they are listed at the number 6 spot.
I think
that's with their mediocre play.
I think that they're having a decent year. I think they're going to build off of this, and next year, depending on what players that they could bring in, next year they could be I don't want to say a Charlotte, but a contending team. But I don't see it this year. But they are looking like a decent squad.
Lost 3 of their last 4. I don't like him.
New England. I'm not even gonna waste too much time. They're pretenders. Campana sucks. Danny, are you changing your pretenders, right?
Pretender for me on New England. Yeah.
Chris,
we'll put them to the sword this weekend.
They're sitting at 11. They have 3 wins, 1 draw, and 4 losses. Wait, no. Did I read that right? Yeah, 3, 1, and 4. They just got Campana back. They're not contenders, but they're going to be better. So pretenders.
They have 6 goals scored on the season in 9 matches.
And only 2 of those was an open play because the rest of them were an own goal and set pieces.
And penalties.
Yep. So, but they have won 3 of their last 4. So
that streak ends on Saturday.
NYCFC. I'm not going to waste too much time on them. I also think that Santi Rodriguez lost right before the season started killed them, and they haven't been able to get it together. I think that they are pretenders. I don't think they can compete for their title this year.
Pretenders. It all is on freeze and a pause for them till they can launch their new stadium and sort of relaunch the whole club. I think.
Chris?
I think that's going to be it. Yeah, they're pretenders. They're not going to contend for anything big this season. I can't wait until they actually get over to Queens, and it's going to be big for them. I feel like they're going to load up for that.
Still a while away.
It is. It is.
The Red Bulls, interesting. Eastern Conference champs. They are as mid gets. I believe they are 3 and 3.
Yep.
Choupo-Moting has been decent, I guess. As the old DP striker, I think he's like 47 years old. And but that's who they brought in. Chris, contender or pretender?
No, I think that they're complete pretenders. They to me, they've gotten actually a little bit better offensively from what I've noticed. And that's considering that Lewis Morgan has been out. So that's a big hit that they took. But I'm gonna call them pretenders. They've had opportunities that they could have won. I mean, look, New England beat them. Like, come on. You can't be losing to New England and consider yourself a contender.
Danny Brams.
I have these guys as fucking clowns is what I would rate them personally, but they're also like zombies, and they're never dead until you like truly chop the head off and stab the brain.
Seattle.
These guys, it kills me. Yeah. Like they're gonna be mid and mediocre and shitty literally the entire year, and then you're going to be like facing them in the playoffs somehow that you don't even know how it happened. And you're going to be like, fuck, we're going to about to lose this game. So I don't understand what it is with Red Bulls, but I hate them. They're my most hated club in Major League Soccer, and I think they're a contender to piss me right the fuck off. That's all I can say about them. Yeah, sorry for all the swearing, but the Red Bulls bring it out of me.
And I also think that they're pretenders. Although, like I said, much like Seattle, they'll be in the playoffs, and much like Danny Bram says, they'll make some people poop their pants. But I don't see them as a serious contender. I don't even. Last year, I still can't explain it. I don't know. Orlando City. This is an interesting one because they were the highest scoring team up until 3 weeks ago. They were looking pretty good, and now they haven't scored a goal in their last 3 games. So this one is a tough one for me. Chris, you look like you're about to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with pretenders. Like they also allow a crazy amount of goals. Like you're not gonna contend if you don't have a better balance of offense and defense. Like, yeah, you can score a ton of goals, but if you face a team in the playoffs and you allow all these kind of goals, forget about it.
But I think that's the issue, is that they haven't been scoring a lot of goals either.
Well, recently, over the last couple of weeks, they haven't. So they lost the touch, and they're also still allowing goals when they score more goals. So it's like it's not working out for them, in my opinion. I think that they're pretenders.
Danny Brams.
3 straight 0-0 draws. They've definitely just made things real rough on their fans this month, for sure. I don't know who's having a rougher month, but at the same time, something about they have a talented group of players, and as much as like they hate Oscar Pareja, like the fans hate him, right? Like the Orlando fans hate him, and the rest of the league's like, he's such a good coach, and all the Orlando fans like, we hate him, So it's always kind of funny to me, but he finds a way to win. I'd hit him up there among the top 5, 6, 7 coaches, at least in the East, if not the league. I think they're going to find a way to contend. I really like Ojeda. I don't know what it is. I like Marty Ojeda. I think that they're definitely better than Nashville. They're probably better than Cincinnati, and so I guess I got to label them a contender.
Nice.
I'm with you, Danny Brams. I think although their offense has taken a dip over the last 3 games, and getting shut out by Montreal is pretty sad because Montreal's defense isn't great. They haven't given up as much. At the beginning of the season, when they were leading in attack, they were also leading in goals surrendered, conceded. They've only allowed 12 goals in 9 games. So with a really horrible start, defensively, they've picked it up. And I think the attack isn't dead. It's not just going to randomly disappear. They've had a rough go the last 3 weeks. Now, if they continue that rough go the next couple of weeks, maybe I'll change my mind. But for now, I still think that they are a contender in the East.
Fantastic.
All right. Moving on. We got Philadelphia. Now, this team got off to a hot start. Everybody was surprised, and they've cooled off. I'm going to say that they're a pretender. Although I love Quinn Sullivan, they got rid of Daniel Gazdag. I'm not sure why they would do such a thing, and I think that was the night. That was it for me. I don't think they're going to recover from that.
That's the night that the lights went out in Philly. I mean, there we go. I kind of agree, though. I'm with you, pretenders for Philly.
Yeah, and not only that, but then you get rid of Gazdag, and after you're already at a good pace, and replace him with Indiana Vasilev. What are we doing?
Yeah.
You guys are pretenders.
Yeah. I love Quinn Sullivan though, but
Quinn Sullivan's great. Yeah, and he doesn't get enough praise because of his brother
at all,
who's 15,
and then
for the last Toronto, 4 years.
We're not gonna. Yeah. In Toronto, we're not gonna bother. They're pretenders. If you don't play in Vancouver and you're a soccer team in Canada, you're a pretender.
Yeah.
All right.
Shout out to Sean Johnson.
Moving on to the West Coast. Boston FC.
I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, I know. Poor Sean. He's a great goalkeeper.
I agree, but why do you love Sean Johnson? That's just weird.
Well, I don't know. I don't love him, but I feel bad for him. I watch highlights every week of all the games. And
we started a Sean Johnson match a couple weeks ago.
Fair. That is fair.
We like goalkeepers on this show because we got Joe Dirt. We got Junior Dos Salsa that Chris loves. So we like goalkeepers. And Kalina is obviously great.
Croatian Wall.
Yeah. Austin FC. They just picked up Robert Taylor, so they have now their super sub. But
That's it.
I hate
Contenders.
Uzuni on the left side. Brandon Vasquez hasn't been able to become what he was that one season in Cincinnati. Their defense is supposed to be one of the best, but then they gave up 5 to Vancouver. I'm gonna label them for the time being pretenders. I don't believe it. Even though I think they're like second in the West right now, but I think they'll take a dip. Danny Brams.
I was surprised when I looked at doing a little research for this show, and I looked and saw that Austin FC was second in the West. I had not looked at the West table that closely. The funny thing is, as I mentioned, I was at an Austin FC match this weekend. I lived in Austin for 10 years before I moved to Charlotte 10 years ago. Really? So I love Austin. I have friends and family there. Went back to visit some folks Easter weekend and whatnot, and decided to go to the Austin FC match was kicking off at 12:45 and on a Saturday. Like absolutely like. And it was like a nice overcast day in Austin, not too hot. It was literally like the perfect scenario. And the one thing about Austin, they have a great stadium, and they're pretty cheap tickets. You know, I'm not a huge spender, but for like $65, we got second row tickets, like right up at the front, like just off the corner flag, you know, like parallel to like the 6-yard box. It was incredible. And so they really have a great fan experience there. Their supporter section does a lot of really one of the better supporter one of the best supporter sections that I've seen, and I've heard 8, 9 MLS stadiums if I counted them all up. So, really good work. And what I found though on the pitch was that this team had a really identity that they never had before. I always criticized Austin FC in years past under Josh Wolf. I thought Wolf was like one of the worst coaches in MLS, and I think they held on to him way too long. Now they're new. And they played kind of like this. They really had this, no identity. Their identity was like playing nervous all the time and choking away leads and things like that. Now they got this really hard edge. They were fouling dudes. If the game was against the Galaxy, Gabriel Peck was running wild up and down the right wing, and they would just foul him. They would knock him down, hit him to the turf. And I don't always approve of those cynical tactics, but at least it's from the big, say what you will about the tenets of National Socialism, dude. At least it's an ethos, right? To quote the Big Lebowski. But I don't appreciate the style. I hate when Red Bulls do it, but at least Austin has found something that's working for them. I agree that Brandon Vasquez, is a bust so far as a DP. Missed a penalty, shot the penalty right at the keeper. It was so funny. Like an entire stadium, is so hyped up for this guy. The penalty was drawn. It was looked at, it was reviewed and everything. And they were like, oh, yeah, B-Vaz, our guy, he's going to get off the schneid, get his second goal of the year. And
blows it.
He ended up getting it.
It was like the sound of
got it later.
Thousands of people just going soft all at once. It was absolutely sad. And as that ball went straight in the keeper's gut. But then he did get the tap in later. Austin FC kept pressing. I really liked the work from this winger that came in as a sub. I think he came in for Uzuni Bukhari.
Bukhari's a baller, yeah.
He was good. He really impressed me when he came in. Owen Wolf, the son of Josh Wolf, who I just criticized. Owen Wolf played really good. And he had that same tough identity. So, Zan Kolmanic, a veteran guy who came in and got the assist to Vasquez late. I just think that they're a good, deep club that has finally found a style of soccer that works for them. So that's a lot of words to say. I'm going to label them as a contender. I think they could potentially win the West. The West is wide open, right? It's a Mickey Mouse league out there. All the good teams in the East, so why can't Austin win the West?
It's fair to just put contender on all the teams except for LA Galaxy at this point because that's a hodgepodge of teams over there in the West. Chris, contender, pretender, Austin.
Well, my emotion is going to tell you contender, but it's statistics are going to say
why is your emotion?
Because they just picked up Robert Taylor. Okay, they're literally going to contend now. Now Austin,
I hope he sees it, bro.
Yeah, I hope because he needs to get more time. They have 7 goals for and 8 goals against, and they're 7 goals in 9 games. That's crazy to be in second.
Well, because they've only given up 8 goals. But 5 of those were against Vancouver. Correct. So they've given up 3 goals in 8 games.
Yes. So they're pretty solid defensively aside from the Vancouver disaster. I'm going to go with contender, baby. Robert Taylor is going to bring more goals into this game, into this team. Let's go, Austin.
Look, a good defense. I love a good defense, but I just don't see it in Austin. That to me, it smells more like St. Louis, where you have a great defense, but if you ain't got no offense, I don't know, you're gonna lose some heartbreakers. Colorado Rapids. I'm gonna go straight ahead, put contender. I love Colorado. Mihailovic, my favorite player to watch, not in a pink jersey in this league. And that's just it. I love Mihailovic. I love their attack. Zach Steffens finally came back and playing some good ball. Danny Brams, Colorado.
Kindred spirits, bro. I absolutely love Georgi Mihailovic. He's the one guy that I would realistically say, man, why is he not on our club? And wish we would have been the ones to bring him back to MLS when he left Europe to come back here. But we weren't. Colorado, Charlotte FC lost at Colorado, so I got to, drew at Colorado, so I got to give it up and say that Colorado's a contender. They hung with the best team in the East.
Yeah, I mean,
they played Miami already. Chris,
there's no way you can be able to say that Colorado is not a contender. I mean, just the way that they've been able to play lately, and they've been putting up goals. And not only do you have Mihailovic, but like Navajo is also showing that he can be able to play really well. This game so far, I mean, this team so far has been really, really great, guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing more Colorado contenders.
I agree. So we got Colorado as contenders, and and I think they're going to be top 4 at some point in the West. Those standings are going to be moving up and down all throughout the
Remember,
season.
they were contending last year, and they kind of fell off at the pace at the end of the year. This year, they have what it takes to be a little stronger, hopefully, for them.
FC Dallas. No,
I'll start off. FC Dallas hasn't even finished constructing their stadium or repairing it. FC Dallas is total pretenders. I don't think that they're going to be competing in any way, shape, or form towards the end of the season. It seems like they just haven't figured out how to gel things. And to have Lucho Acosta, who's such a good playmaker, he's just been pretty inconsistent. So I'm going with pretenders.
Yeah, I got to pretend to really know anything about Dallas this year. It's not a team I've paid a ton of attention to, so I can't comment too authoritatively. I'm not going to lie to our good viewers and listeners out here. Pretend that I know everything about every team, but one of my very best friends in the world is a huge FC Dallas fan. So for his sake, I hope they do well. And Lucho Acosta makes it interesting, but I think he hasn't done much there, and I think he's headed towards the down slope of his career. He's been around for a while. He's not a young buck, and I think pretender is what I ultimately have to land.
And we just had a couple minutes ago, we were doing the Miami show. We had a Dallas guest on. He said Lucho just doesn't look happy.
Yeah.
Lucho wanted to leave the MLS last year. He wanted to go back to Argentina.
He literally never has looked happy ever since he got that move to He was supposed to go to PSG, remember, years and years ago, off the backs of a great season at DC United playing with Wayne Rooney, and he had a chance to go to PSG, and the move got blocked, and he got sent back, and he went to Tijuana.
By the way, Wayne Rooney and Lucho, to me, greatest play I've ever watched in MLS history. I don't know if you remember it. There was that counter where Wayne Rooney ran the guy down, won the ball, and from midfield, Hail Mary pass is basically what it was, to a Lucho Acosta header. Wild. Chris, if you've never seen it, you got to look it up. To me, greatest play I've ever
Chris, have you not seen that play?
No, I have to look. I think I've probably seen it in highlights, but off the top of my head,
and you have never watched it. It's DC United. Lucho Acosta played with Wayne Rooney, and I'm sure all you have to do is put Wayne Rooney, Lucho Acosta, DC United goal, and it'll pop up. Right. Greatest goal I've ever seen in MLS. Yeah. All right, but
sure.
That won't win any games. All right, moving on. Houston Dynamo. I'll start. I think they're pretenders, just haven't looked good. Chris.
Yeah, Houston Dynamo. I haven't really paid too much close attention to Houston Dynamo, but I don't like the Mike Jones song. It feels very Miami Dolphins touchdown songy to me. So Houston Dynamo pretenders.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. A club in rebuild mode. I'd call them pretenders as well. I mean, they're. I don't see them climbing out of the pit they're already in at this point.
They've won one game so far this year. So
They're
But
literally
Brooklyn Reigns-
second to last. Yes.
We have a
Brooklyn
problem.
Reigns. Keep an eye out for Brooklyn Reigns. I think that kid's going to be good in the midfield. He got to start last week. I mean, you might as well start the Young Bucks since the team isn't doing well.
Mhm.
LA Galaxy. People still, and everybody I asked, they're like, oh, no, they still contenders because Pooch is coming back. And they're digging themselves such a huge hole that it's going to be impossible to get out of. I'm going to say pretender. They are yet to win a game, and we are a quarter of the way through the season. LA Galaxy have no chance to even make the playoffs, I think. Danny Brams.
I agree, especially just from seeing him play firsthand. Like I said, at that match against Austin, Marco Royce subbed on at halftime, looked really unhappy, didn't really see him in the flow. Gabriel Peck is awesome. I mean, that kid is awesome.
He is that team right now.
It's a shame someone can't just go get him because he was like fun to watch. He was really fun to watch, running up and down the right wing and right in front of my field of vision all first half. And he gave Austin a lot of problems, but on the other side, Joseph Paintsel is a very inconsistent player, big money player for them, and he seemed to have attitude problems. It was funny; he was getting in fights with fans and opponents. He had to be sort of like dragged off the pitch at the end of the 90 minutes. It's pretty funny. I posted a video. I posted an Austin FC video on the Charlotte Soccer Show YouTube because it was just so interesting to me. But they just seem like a mess, and everything that went right last year has gone wrong this year, and I don't. Again, they're kind of digging themselves with 20 plus games still to go this season. They're kind of find themselves in a hole they can't get out of.
Yeah, and he won't. If he comes back, it's not going to be until late summer. So by then, it's too late.
Well, more on the brighter side. I mean, Fagundes has been playing pretty decently for LA Galaxy too, but McCarthy can't be able to he has. I don't know about you guys, but he's had some really big blunders as a goalkeeper. That's tough to watch. Yeah, pretenders. They're not going to have enough.
Saved a penalty against Austin, against Brandon Vasquez.
He's usually very good on penalties.
Yeah.
So
remember the
we're
final.
talking about your ex, I guess, is all I would say to that.
Yeah, right.
LAFC, a little inconsistent. Dolo came out, said that he will not be back after this year. I talk to Chris about it all the time. Once you have a coaching change, usually things change, and there wasn't a coaching change, but I mean, they finally woke up. Giroud finally scored a goal. I don't know what the hell was happening here.
It was off a set piece.
I do believe in LAFC, and I do think that they'll bring a piece in the summer. I'm going to say that they are a contender. David Martinez will probably bring Young Player of the Year. I think he'll be winning that award. And I mean, I still don't know how Giroud fits into all that, but I mean, I guess if they figure it out, that'd be great. Go ahead, Chris.
No, Martinez is a hell of a player, and not only that, you still have Bouanga that can just make something happen within minutes, right? Such a game changer. And then on top of that, I mean, look, LAFC to me have a brighter future this season than LA Galaxy. So I'm going with contender as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they're in the playoff position now. They just brought in Frankie Amaya, brought him back from the Mexican League to MLS. Guy who I've never been a huge Frankie Amaya fan, but he does have some talent. And there's been times when he's been the best player on the pitch in certain matchups at times. So good. They're out. The thing about LAFC is they're always out there trying to get better. They never just throw in the towel like Houston seems to have done this year, for instance. But at the same time, how good is Amaya really? Does he really make them better? I'm not sure. I do think it's kind of weird, the whole Cherundolo saying, I'm going to step down at the end of the year.
When I first heard the headline, I thought when I saw the headline, Dolo says he's leaving, I thought like it was happening right now.
Right.
When I saw at the end of the year, I was like, how does that even work?
Yeah. Like you don't have to tell everybody. Why don't we just you can tell your boss and then we'll reveal it to the rest of the world.
Yeah, I thought that was very odd, but they responded with a win. I don't know.
Olivier
Giroud scored a goal.
How handsome is Giroud? I mean,
he is a good-looking guy.
God.
I mean,
man,
fucking French people.
Yeah,
but yes, and Igor Jesus,
Arsenal DNA,
one of the best center defensive midfielders, and I love defensive players, so that's why I always bring that up. Moving on, Minnesota United. Minnesota, apparently, from what the chat was saying, just got Julian Gressel.
Yeah, I mean,
might be getting Julian Gressel, which will assist
allegedly.
I mean, Bogert reported that it's happening, so yeah.
So
I trust
because your Boa can use that service that Julian Gressel will provide on that right side. Minnesota is a good team. I think that they will be contenders, even though they had that. Was it a draw against NYCFC just now, which completely surprised me? But I do think that they are contenders. Chris, contenders or pretenders for Minnesota United?
Well, we've been trying to look at all the games for all the teams, and Minnesota is one of those teams, Danny, like I had mentioned to you, that they've been doing pretty well. They're very much similar to like Colorado, where you can be able to see that they have like a high potent offense. I'm going to go ahead and consider them contenders, especially if they had on Gressel. I mean, we always talk about his ability to be able to cross the ball. Now, imagine putting him in a team where they're actually going to utilize him the way that he wants to be utilized, not thrown like at center mid or something like that.
Well, they do have a great defense. I think that their attack hasn't been as good as I thought it would be with Yeboah and Olu Awasi. I forget how to pronounce his name.
that guy's
yeah,
good.
well, both of them are good. And I think that Gressel providing service is going to help that attack. And their defense is already good. They got Boxel back there, which I think is a stud, and St. Clair, which was a stud with it last week's
pretty good
Cup,
goalie.
yeah.
Yep.
So I think that they're a contender. Chris, you said contender also?
Yes, contender.
And Danny Brahms, contender or pretender for Minnesota?
This is one where I want to say pretender, but I gotta say contender.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
Minnesota. All right, contender. Straight across the board, Minnesota is a contender, and I'm curious to see how that Julian Gressel thing pulls out.
I like the Gressel signing.
Phil Neville's Portland Timbers started off rough, picking it up. David,
you guys, you're just obsessed with all your exes, man. It's crazy. It's so funny.
Well, no, it's that guy.
I do tend to have glossy eyes for the exes.
Yeah. So I'll just put it out there. I think they're pretenders. Anthony has had a nice little run of play.
They're
David
putting up goals, Danny. They're putting up goals.
More scoring. I just don't
Jonah
believe
Rodriguez doing this thing.
Yeah, I just don't believe in him. That's
no,
no, I don't. Chris, you think they're contenders?
I mean, Phil Neville is a contender himself. No.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you that. Look, Anthony has played pretty good for them. Obviously, to fill a void like Evander, it's tough, right? You lose a player like that, it's very hard to be able to fill that void. Have they filled it? No. Have they done it consistently? No. But I feel like they can be able to pick it up, and I think that they can contend. Danny, I'm going to give them the contender. Okay?
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No. I think the West could all be contenders technically.
Right.
Danny Brahms.
I look at the teams currently in the top four, and I think which is most likely to sink like a stone. It looks like Portland to me. I'm going to say P for Portland, P for pretender. And I just, I've never really rated Neville's management, although he's, he's not as bad as like a guy like Wolf, like I mentioned earlier, but he just doesn't,
Well, Da Costa has been looking solid, and their left back 40, I think, is a stud that nobody's really talking about. But I just don't see it. I'm gonna go pretender.
Miller's also there.
Kamal Miller's okay. Real Salt Lake. Do you guys want to spend time on this?
Jesus Christ, this guy.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, he's rough. Real Salt Lake. I think pretenders. They are the Real
Diego Luna. That's it.
The Real Luna's basically
free Diego Luna. That's all I would consider.
Well, I mean, he freed himself for this week because he got himself a red card last week. So
there we go.
So pretenders. I think we all agree there.
Yes.
Okay, this is an interesting one. San Jose Quakes. Everybody was really hyped with them because they got in Chicho, Joseph, but they didn't.
Absolutely contenders. Absolute contenders to me.
Okay.
Absolute contenders. They're playing in a side where they're scoring a lot of goals. Their defense isn't super bad. I mean, it's not super good either, but I think that they could contend in the West. It's so open. How can you not consider them contenders?
Before last week, would you say that you would look at a team like, let's say, hypothetically, Sporting KC, and say this team probably isn't very good? They don't score a lot of goals. Would you say that?
Yes.
Okay. Then they went ahead and they played against the San Jose team. How many goals did they put on their head?
Oh yeah, I know they freaking blew it up, but like, okay, but SKC hasn't been consistently good. Like other than the
Exactly.
last, we're not even at SKC yet.
But
Are you
I'm
ready to
saying
make them
that's
contenders?
but San Jose
Jovic?
gave up 5 goals to them. Okay, San Jose has the second worst defense in the league right now.
Yes. I don't care. They put up a
Okay.
lot of goals,
All
and
right.
they have
Well,
the potential of scoring a lot of goals. What?
my
I
vote
said
is
contender.
and
Get
I
out
said
of here.
pretender. I'm saying
And I'm
pretender.
saying contender.
I got them as pretender. I watched them play in person here in Charlotte, and they were crap. They sucked. I don't.
Oh, he just went on mute. He went on mute because he was pooping on them so hard that he just went on mute.
Yeah. No, he's a
No,
no. Still
on
nothing,
mute.
Danny. Yeah.
Oh,
Look at that. Joseph ended
Bruce
up. Now you're
Arena-
on super.
Bruce
Now
Arena
you're on
got to
super
you.
mute. Bruce Arena came over and hacked your whole mainframe there, Danny Bram.
That's it. Danny needs to come on here
still,
more.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, nothing. I think you got to click the
man.
little mute button on the bottom.
All right. Well, while he tries to figure that out, let's go San Diego. San Diego expansion team. And he just all right. So San Diego, the expansion team. Go ahead while we wait for Danny Brams to come on. Your thoughts on San Diego, because they are an expansion team. I think I kind of outperformed our expectations for them.
Yes.
So would you
they're
say
actually
they're
4-2-3. They're actually 4-2-3. And to me, I feel I'm gonna tell you straight up. I think that they're contenders. You there, Danny Brams?
Back, I hope.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
you
yes,
are.
You are.
Oh my gosh! Just when I was winning over the chat, I see the chat.
I
that
know
says
they started
Danny needs
saying
to
let's
come on
bring
here
them
more,
back,
and boom, I
and
had to
then
bounce.
the mic got cut.
Yeah. Well, my battery was about to die, so when I plugged my computer back in. This is inside football, but plugging the power source in killed my mic for whatever reason. So sorry about that. But I am back, and maybe the Philly fans that are mad that we called them pretenders. I saw some angry Philly fans in there in the chat earlier too. San Jose, just to finish that pretender for me. I saw them play here in Charlotte. They suck. They really had no ideas, and I think they just kind of like Chicago had a hot start, and they're going to suck. San Diego, same damn story. I saw them come in here, and everyone said they were doing really good, and they looked like garbage against us. So I think both got red cards. San Diego, bad game against Charlotte. They rotated. They changed a little bit of their tactics. So they may be like, okay, we need to go back to what was working for us, and they may reel off another hot streak. I'm not sure their schedule, but I didn't think too much of San Diego. They were sort of overachieving with some guys that maybe they'll get back to form. I'm talking about Zverkov and Dreyer. But they were pretty hapless against Charlotte, although they did go down to 10 men, but it wasn't until right at halftime. So, and they were pretty hopeless against Charlotte. I think it was a masterclass of coaching from Dean Smith, and they just ran into a buzzsaw. So they might be able to get it back, but
masterclass.
Dean Smith,
I got him as pretender. I got San Diego as
pretender of the MLS. Chris.
No, I already told you. I think that they're contenders.
So we got contenders from Chris, pretenders from Danny. I'm gonna say they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think that they are a championship contender. I don't see them there at all. So I guess in that aspect, I'm going to say that they're pretenders. But that's a great start that for a first season to end up in the playoffs, maybe 7th, 6th seed. That's a great start. If you end up even higher than that good seed, I don't see them as a championship team, but I do think that that's a great start.
And by the way, Danny, for Danny Brams, for the X effect, we have CJ Dos Santos there, Franco Negri, and Chris McVeigh. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, McVeigh had to sub out because they were sucking so bad.
And Andre Reyes
against Charlotte. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, Reyes got the red card, former Red Bull man, and was he
to
play for Miami?
Yes, he did.
Jeez.
I knew somebody that was like selling him insurance, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to come with me to meet him?" I was like, "No, the hell."
yeah. He doesn't want to meet me. I can tell you that much right now.
Go up there while he's trying to get insurance, and hey, what's going on? Heard you play for Inter Miami. What is this?
Yeah, exactly. Why do you foul so much all the time, Andre?
Yeah, or get stomach viruses right before a final. Seattle Sounders. I'm gonna just jump and say Contenders, just because they are just always
They're always a contender. Yeah,
the
exactly.
Pittsburgh Steelers of the MLS.
Mhm.
They
Listen,
could be as bad as they want, but they will be there.
we made the color. Put the contender up again. We made them the colors of the Seattle Sounders.
Right.
That's
Oh,
how
I mean,
much of
yeah.
a contender they are. I know, Drew. I
Mhm.
know. It's just something that was just casually done, but that tells you how
I
much
like
of
it.
a contender they are.
It's thematic.
Yeah, and
They're
I
always a
love
contender.
Rothrock. I love Rothrock. That's my favorite non-DP player, I think, in the league. I think he's awesome down that left side. All right. Jordan Morris is back also. Sporting KC. Do we need to waste our time on this?
Absolutely not. Pretenders to the nth degree.
They finally fired their coach and have started the rebuilding process for real. But yeah, they're still pretenders for now.
Yeah, pretenders, even though Chris feels like they beat a serious contender. But
Yeah.
But it's like you said, though, Danny, whenever you make a coaching change, there's like a surge into team chemistry.
but not a 5-goal surge.
Yeah, I know, but
San Jose is just poopy. All right, St. Louis City. Best defense, probably the worst attack. If honestly, if we look at it, only Montreal is worse. They scored 5 goals.
Yeah.
And I think they scored 3 against the Galaxy. So they've outside of that one Galaxy game, they scored 2 goals in 8 matches. They are really bad in the attack. So St. Louis, because of that, I'm going to say that they are a pretender. They got to figure things out. You can not allow the other team to score as much as you want, but you got to eventually score to win. So I'm going to say pretenders. I think they had gone 4 games in a row with losses or
Yeah, they lost 4 in a row before a draw last week. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been pretty bad. Danny Brams, contenders or pretenders?
I got them as pretenders. We said earlier, we were like, everyone in the West is a contender, but that means everyone in the West is a pretender also, right? I got these guys as pretenders. And I was looking when you look at the West table, you're just like, man, there's some bad teams. And I was like wanted to predict San Diego to fall out of the playoffs because you're like, San Diego will make the playoffs, and I wanted to push back on that. And then I looked at the standings, and I was like, well, there's really who's going to pass them, you know? And I was looking at teams like St. Louis and Sporting KC. So I've got St. Louis as pretenders.
Like, really, you're just hoping that the Galaxy do kind of make up some ground.
Yeah.
Because they're really other than the Galaxy, they're really the only team that you could look at that are on the bottom half and say, they can kind of push up a little bit. St. Louis
if they could start scoring some goals,
Yeah, it can happen. I'm going to go with also pretenders, Danny. St. Louis. And on top of that, you haven't had too much goal contribution from them either. So they're totally false. Get out of here, St. Louis City.
And then we got one team left to go. The Vancouver Whitecaps. They got off to a hot start. Some people were doubting them because they were beating a bunch of nobodies. But then they went ahead and drew with Pumas twice. They drew with Monterrey twice. Then they put 5 on Austin, which is the best defensive team in the league. And people are taking them serious now. I think it's hard to not call them contenders. They're the best team in the West. They're probably the only team in the West that you look at and you're like, okay, I could see them being above the rest. And they got a big game against Miami this week. I'm going to just go ahead and put contender because they're deep. Their front 6 is probably, the best in the West for sure. One of the best in the league because their front 6 is good and they have backups to back that up.
I want to mention something here because Danny Brams, you mentioned about Berhalter, right? Here we have a Berhalter playing in Vancouver. He is special.
Sebastian, yeah.
Sebastian Berhalter is great. And the way that he distributes the ball, like he's a very great passer. And Danny asked me a question earlier when I was on the phone with him. He was like, man, do you think he just gets the brunt of it just because of his last name? Like if his last name would have been Jones, people would have been giving him a lot more respect. I'm going to call them contenders, but I wanted to ask you that question to see what you thought, Danny Brams.
It is true that like whenever I think of him, I think of the name and I associate with Greg Berhalter for sure.
Yeah.
But I do like.
I'll tell you this much. Our guest from yesterday that covered Vancouver said the most perfect thing. You could tell he plays like a coach's son.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, and I think they've they've silenced all the doubters with the way they were able to get past Pumas in the CCC. They've made some. They've continued. You'd be fooled to say they're not a contender at this point. We've just finished shitting on like almost everyone in the Western Conference. Why shouldn't Vancouver win the West? I just, we're as we record this live, we're less than 24 hours away from kickoff of Vancouver, Miami, and the Champions Cup, and I know you guys are super excited about that one. I think I hear you say contender, Chris, and I think you'd probably say the same, Daniel. They're going to be contenders in the league. Are you worried? How do you guys feel about tomorrow night? Just like as we wrap this up, you guys feeling good? This is a big tie coming up.
Vancouver's only played against one good offense so far this year, which was Chicago. Now, we spoke to the guest yesterday, and he said that there was a lot of rotation in that game. So I guess, I don't know, you could take that with a grain of salt. But that game, they lost 3-1. I think this is going to be the best offense that they play against. And I think Miami wins comfortably.
Yeah, I think that it's like you said, we are going to be one of their biggest tests. And I don't think it's going to work out to their favor. I think that we're going to walk away with an extra goal tomorrow night.
Now, with that said, Vancouver has been balling, and they've been doing it without their best player.
Yes.
Galt has been out since, I think, week 2 or week 3. Nelson has been out here and there. He's just coming back. They have Sabi that was filled in admirably. Ali Ahmed has been balling in their absence also. Like, they are a deep team. So I think that Vancouver is.
Brian White's got all the finishing skills. I mean, Brian White is
I would not doubt
doing very well,
and he should have had 6 goals that game against Austin. He didn't take the penalty kick. They gave it to Rios, and Rios missed it. So he should have had 5. And then there was an offside call that could have been onside. I don't know how they saw it offside. He could have had 6 goals that game.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't doubt that what we're gonna watch in the next 2 legs, it could be a preview of the MLS Cup, as much as Danny hates to hear that because he thinks Charlotte's going to make it somehow. That could be a preview of the MLS Cup.
Yeah, we're not even thinking about the MLS Cup. Just for the record, we're going for the Supporters Shield. That's what Dean Smith has said. It's go get the Shield, then we'll worry about the Cup after that. So right now we don't talk about the MLS Cup. We talk about the Shield in Charlotte.
I hate the Shield.
Well, you want to win both, but I mean, you got to win them one after the other.
I don't give a crap about the Shield.
I mean, at this point.
Like, it's no star above the badge. All right. And that it does it. We've gone through all the teams. I wish we would have kept count because I don't know how many pretenders we actually said we had. But it might have been half the league. But
don't we have an intern in the back counting these up to building the graphic that has our final
I wish we did. Well, you see right under me where I was putting the logos.
Yeah.
We always had planned to put a little box there and have a stat guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wanted to have a stat guy. But nobody
get that kid who does the voice on the beginning on the intro of the show, you know.
We should. All right, Danny, appreciate you hanging out with us. Make sure that you catch Danny and Total Soccer. Well, actually, go ahead, plug
Charlotte Soccer Show.
Charlotte Soccer Show.
Charlotte Soccer Show on YouTube, on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on Instagram. I might even launch a TikTok. Who knows? I was just thinking because we do a lot of. Not only do we do shows on our Charlotte Soccer Show YouTube, but you should follow us because we do lots of like edited videos. Like if you go to our channel right now, you'll see like our shorts page is populated every day with like little soundbite music videos and clips. Like I do a lot of editing and production. So if you get a lot of coverage of the team beyond just my dumb talking head face and my co-host John Hayes, who someday I got to get Johnny on here with you guys because you'd love him.
Sure.
He's completely like he's a very funny guy, but he's like kind of like the down the middle, like serious analytical guy. I'm the crazy like hot take, like throw weird stuff out. So that's our chemistry. Yeah. I'm more like the Chris, where I just say crazy stuff that no one really pays attention to. Dan, my co-host John, is more like the Daniel that like you have to listen to and pay attention to because he's actually been like following things.
Absolutely.
And Omar, just real quick before we get out of here, wants to throw a little shade. Charlotte's biggest pretender with their counterball. Counterball doesn't win the MLS Cup. Apparently they don't want the MLS Cup. They want the stupid Shield.
I don't respond to people who have profile pics of Brad Guzan.
I saw that.
And Amir saying Caps are killing Miami tomorrow.
Bold.
Hey, that is a bold take. Shout out to Amir
killing
for that whole
take.
Yeah, no, well, that's the thing because he didn't say win. He's going to kill him. Well, we'll
Right.
see. It's gonna.
I'll be
fun.
watching. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah. We'll be watching also. So make sure if you want some Charlotte soccer talk, make sure you catch Danny Brams for the Crown Baby. Is also a tag that
That's
they
the Twitter
use.
handle for the Crown Baby.
Yeah.
That's like our catchphrase on the show. So yeah.
So
We're
check it all out.
really good at social media. We literally have a different handle on every platform. We're like Charlotte Soccer Show on YouTube, For the Crown Baby on Twitter, Charlotte Soccer City on Instagram. So you got to do a little work to find us, but it's worth it, I promise, for sure.
Yeah, and maybe we can give Chris some pointers because he said that he's going to be the social media guy and he hasn't done anything.
Listen, I suck with technology.
No, not a good excuse.
Even though I've been pumping out videos, Danny, on our channel, 3 videos a week. Let's go, Papa.
Yes.
Let's go.
But then he said, like, oh, I got to do shorts. Like, shorts should be easier than those other videos.
No, we'll talk after.
Shorts are harder to make them good.
You see, Danny? Get out of here.
I'm just talking about just making them.
Ah, shut up.
You know, and this is off topic real quick, and I'm going to end it with this. Chris and I started a podcast called The Bench Warmers.
Yeah.
Like 10 years ago. And there's a reason why it didn't work out. We were just talking sports in general. And it would be Monday, and we would talk about the weekend. And it was not on YouTube. We would record it. It was just audio. And he's like, bet, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to edit this, and then I'll put it out. He kept putting it out on Saturdays and Sundays of the next week. Everything that we spoke about no longer mattered because we were in the next week. Like the bench warmers was short-lived. And is this or is this not accurate, Chris?
It is accurate, but you know how much of a perfection I was to take the breaths away. I went to broadcasting school. They showed me how to do different things, so I wanted to incorporate that. Not just like have this one clip and just throw it to you and have somebody like breathe all over the microphone, this unpolished piece of media. So
we do it now.
Well, yeah, but like at this point, with the way that the format is now, back then it wasn't radio ready. So that's how I always did.
We love sports.
Guys, my mom is a therapist who specializes in couples counseling, but I am not, so I can't really sit in on what's going on here, right? Right now, I just can't do it. I'm sorry.
Well, we appreciate you
coughing into the microphone and everything. I mean, that wouldn't survive 10 years ago.
That is true. I will give you that. I could have muted my mic, but I was about to say something. All right, Danny, again, appreciate you. Chris, I hate you. If you're listening on audio, we appreciate you listening all the way to the end. Please give us 5 stars, comment, review, all the good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. Let them know there's another MLS show out there coming out with 2 to 3 episodes a week. And if you're in the chat, as always, you guys are the best part of the show. We appreciate you hanging out with us for the last hour and 12 minutes. And we will be back next week to recap the weekend that was. Roundtable discussion next Wednesday. And we'll be moving. So until the next one, have a good one.